I think, and I've commented on this a few times in these sessions, but I think one thing that can be helpful is to remember like what it is that you would be doing and kind of remember um, the work itself rather than, are people going to judge me? Um, you know I might feel like I'm an imposter sometimes, or I might not be good enough. Or, what are people going to think of me if I do make a mistake? Or if what are people going to think if I'm not as good as, this teacher who I'm thinking of, or this healer who I admire? And so, so there's all sorts of things we can do around this. One is to like feel the fear and to, welcome it and see if we can like soften the judgments of that fear being good or bad. Sometimes we'll judge it to be good and sometimes we'll judge it to be bad. But can we just be with the fear itself without any judgment? So to bring mindfulness to your reaction, this non-judgmental moment to moment awareness. Can I just be with it and get to know it? Can I tend it and befriend it, as Tara Brach would say? You know, bring some self-compassion into the mix too, realizing there are so many other people who, if they're in my shoes, they'd feel the same way. Um, and then, but to also remember, like, oh, well, what is it? What is the work? What am I being asked to do? And can I remember that that's where I can use more focus? How can I up my skill sets? How can I up my listening? How can I up my knowledge? How can I up my presence? And really just, I don't know the specific work that it is that you would be doing, but like, what is the actual work and how can I keep making progress? And I love that you're doing more studenting. That's great. That can probably inform your work. But um, another thing is to remember that you're not promising the world. You're not promising enlightenment overnight. You're not promising, you know, a lifetime of bliss with one session. You're not promising, Zen on the freeway by tomorrow afternoon. You're offering some tools to help them in baby steps, to kind of chunk it down a little bit and remember, like, I'm not here to transform lives right now. Maybe that'll happen, but that's not what you're promising. And that's hopefully not what you're being asked to do either. So to remember, it's about baby steps and that, you have the inner resources and the outer resources to make some strides, and you can figure it out and you can ask questions and you can always say, I don't know. And it's not the end of the world. And to remember that this sense of fear is also, usually indicative of your level of care. That you know, you don't want to harm people. You don't want to, like you want to help people. But to also remember it's in baby steps, that not everyone is ready. Even if they say they are. Some people sometimes just aren't. Um, and I think it's helpful to remember like what you can help people with, or what like remember your own journey, like how much have I grown, you know? And the Dalai Lama says, it can be useful to think of these types of things in 5-year chunks. Like every 5 years, like what's the level of growth? Or, how far have I come in this journey? And usually when we say things like, how far have we come? Like, I think of it as how far inward have we really gotten? It's not like out there, it's in here, in our hearts, in our bodies, in our shadows. So how far have we come? And to appreciate ourselves. Uh, I'm not a guru, but you know, I can help some people with some things. And if there's something I don't know how to do, I know like some people who I can refer them to. I don't have to do it all myself if I don't know maybe the next steps for this person.